up a planter, and this one is going to be a Mother's Day planter, and you have the prize seed over here. All right. When you have a planter that's fairly large and has quite a bit of room in it, like this one, you can always cheat and put some water bottles in there to take up a little bit of the room. So you don't really need that much potting soil. It's a pretty big pot for what I'm going to use it for. Also, I always recommend putting a couple little stones over the hole, but don't close the hole completely. It's mainly to keep the soil in, and so that it doesn't run all over the place. I'm going to use this beautiful azalea. And this one can go out in the yard, or you can put the whole planter out in the yard. This one is more of a shade azalea. And so very little sun. This here is a maidenhair fern. I just love this one. It has these lovely black stems and very hardy. You can also put this out in the garden. And then this is a Rex begonia. You may have seen them around in here in different colored leaves. I really like this one because it has the pink edging, so it picks up the pink in the azalea. And then this one here is a caladium. It is a bulb. Also just very unusual with the leaves, and again picks up the pink in the azalea. So I'm going to try to put these together for you. And firstly I'm using the shade mix. This is a Kellogg's product, and they do the shade mix, and Garden & Bloom is their product line as well, which is only made for independent gardening centers. And so firstly, we'll fill it up quite a bit. And you'd be surprised how large this pot really is. So it's almost like baking. So when it has clumps like that, you just want to break them up. And I always kind of break them up and like you're kneading dough, and so that you don't have a lot of lumps in your pot. You can even moisten your soil a little bit before you start planting. That's a very good idea. I always just put my fingers in it to settle the soil a little bit so that you don't have too much, sinking down. And they always talk about a thriller, a spiller for your plantings, and so this is really my thriller. I have a few thrillers in this one, actually. One thing about azaleas, if you plant them in the yard or in a pot, you always want them a little bit higher. They don't like to have their feet wet. And so especially in the garden, most people plant them too low. And then the gardener comes along and he blows all the dirt up into the plants, or rakes it up into the plants. And that gets into the crown and ends up killing your azalea. Now I have said that I'm going to put all these things in here, but I may cut back a little bit. So let's see. I just love Rex begonias. As a matter of fact, I've started my own collection at home. It's addictive.
Do they bloom?
It does. They get a little pink flower. There's one over here that has a little pink flower, and I believe this one comes from the 1800s, that variety. It's one of the first varieties of begonias. And then this one up here, when the light shines behind it, it is just stunning. They come in all different colors, the edge of this leaf. Just put that in a little bit.
lights.
You can always just kind of squeeze your pots or roll them to get the plants out. Sometimes when they're well rooted, you may have to do that. And don't worry about making a mess. That's all part of the fun, playing in the dirt. I love this one because it's so soft and delicate looking, but very, very hardy. I actually have this one in my yard, and it's gotten quite a bit of sun even, and has done quite well.
Are you actually planting those down into the soil, or are you setting them on top and then filling them?
I have the soil on the bottom, and then I'll fill in with soil around them.
Now, we're all thinking, I know, how that, now, where would this work into our patios or our yards?
I beg your pardon?
I'm thinking, everybody's thinking, now, where would this work in, this particular?
In the
What you're doing, where would this work into our, is this gonna be for selling or for?
This would be great if you can have a little bit of morning sun on this, preferably, you know, not any hot sun at all, especially on the begonia. It doesn't like the hot sun. None of these plants in Bakersfield like our hot sun. So really, morning, little bit of morning sun, but a shady patio with a little bit of protection, especially for the begonia. Otherwise, they'll all pretty much go through the winter. Okay.
Would you say protection would like a slatted cover be enough, or?
That can be, if we have a freeze like we did this last year. The freeze was several days long. You do want to cover it or move it in the garage, something like
But that
that.
wouldn't be too much sun for it, as long as it's got slatted.
Maybe not. It depends if it's still the hot sun that's coming through the lattice. Sometimes the lattice will create enough shade that, you know, it won't actually hit on the plants. So.
Oh, you're talking
I have the best seat, don't I?
Soil in here.
Oh, that's quite
Yes.
planting and all, tell them about your TV debut.
Oh.
Before I pop it, they didn't show them.
Yes. Well, the Home and Garden Show this year asked California Landscape Contractors Association if they would participate in a competition for landscape contractors that were members, and if they would do a landscape design at the Home and Garden Show. Well, there were several of us that participated, and it was the People's Choice Award, and we were actually voted #1. And we did a drought-tolerant plants design, and had a little fountain in there as well. Well, the result of that was some customers came out of that, and one of them happens to work for 29 and 58, and we did his yard. He had asked other people that were there, and they didn't do the color and basically the detail that we do. So he called me up, we did his yard, and he said, I love what you've done. You need to give me a press release. So we put a press release together and sent it to him. And pretty quickly we got a call from Josh on the job. Josh wanted me to do several demonstrations. They were 4 3-minute demonstrations. So they came by the first time and they warned me if something comes up, we may have to take off and start all over again another time. And it's from 5 in the morning until 7. And so the first morning, Eddie and I were here and we had our 4 segments ready so that he could set them up for me. And it was a lot of fun, but we got the first one set up and he said 30 seconds. And within 2 seconds, they said, roll it up, we've got to go. Off they go. There was a shooting on the east side. And he said, I love what you have here. Can we come back tomorrow? Okay. We had to be here at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
So we came back Tuesday, and we managed to get through the whole demonstration. If you're on our email and you want us to send you a link to the clips that we did, we can do that. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time.
You can also check it out on our Facebook. We have our Facebook O.See-Em-Bloom, and there's a link, the YouTube link, and you can just click play, and it should play right there on screen.
And Amanda does our Facebook and all of our social media.
Let's give Amanda a vision of her dream for the back room.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You can stop recording while